By the end of this video, you're about to discover 3 ways to develop an unbreakable growth mindset. So this is in response to Ing Chai's question, who actually asked. He has written, how do you develop a growth mindset? To even answer this question, it's important, for me to first of all define what a growth mindset is. Contrary to what we call a traditional mindset or a non-growth mindset, so to speak, what a growth mindset is somebody that is always eager to learn, to acquire new skills, to be able to take themselves to the next level, right? In all areas of life, not just in, let's say, business, or not just say in their career, or not just say in their relationships, but really every aspect of life, right? Whether it's fitness, whether it's spirituality, whether it's community, whether it's career, love, friends, basically being a polymath or being like somebody that's good in multiple areas of their life. So I think that's the definition of what a growth mindset is. And in this video, I'm just going to be sharing 3 of my best kept secrets, right? It's a marketer again, secrets. But realistically, these are like my 3 best ways that I have found to develop a growth mindset. The first way is what I call you basically want to assume responsibility for everything that happens in your life, right? Regardless of whether it's your fault or not, okay? So can you imagine how powerful that is if you basically assume responsibility regardless of whether or not it is your fault, right? It basically puts you in a position whereby you take that responsibility, you take that blame, you take that kind of, in a way, being pointed fingers at, regardless of whether it's your fault or not. And what that does is it pushes you to your limits and it makes you accept what the reality is and come up with a solution, right? And when you come to acceptance, right, you really want to go and think of a solution and be able to pivot and be able to solve the problem rather than pointing fingers. That's what having growth is about. Having growth is about being able to solve problems, not pointing fingers at others and then screaming vulgarities at them and asking them like why is this happening, right? Or like how come you're so lousy, right? That's not a growth mindset. That's a blaming mindset, and that's not what you want, right? So I think the very first lesson or like the very first thing that I would say really helped me a lot in developing a growth mindset is with regards to really just assuming responsibility with or without it being my fault or not. So like, let's say for instance, I'll give a very simple example. If somebody on my team screws up and a client messages me and say, hey, why is this not being done? I will automatically say that, look, I first of all want to apologize that our team slipped up, even though it's not me, it could be my team member. But at the end of the day, like, you have to assume responsibility for everything that happens because it's from your team, right? It's a collective band of people, it's a collective effort of the company, collective effort of the agency. Things cock up, right? So you really want to assume responsibility because it's only when you assume responsibility that you come up with solutions, you come up with systems, you come up with corrective measures to solve the root cause of the problem. So you also don't want to blame other people. You don't want to like blame the government. Oh, the corporate tax is high, 17%, or you want to blame the policies. Oh, it's not SME friendly. My competitors have grants and then I don't have the grant, and then the system is not fair. Like, stop doing that. Stop blaming everything else, right? Stop blaming like things like, oh, my boss is not giving me a higher pay and I deserve a higher pay. The whole reason why you're saying that, right, is because you haven't demonstrated enough value, and you need to start taking responsibility. Like, okay, the whole reason why my boss is not paying me high enough is because I haven't demonstrated the value to him. I haven't pitched him why I should be deserving a higher pay. I haven't been adding more value to the company so that he can see it, and as a result of that, he will increase my pay, right? Or the other alternative is just go and find another job that pays you higher. You want to take responsibility for everything that happens. So stop pointing fingers. Stop telling yourself that, hey, I deserve more, but I'm not getting it, and therefore, I hate my life. Don't do that, right? Just stop feeling sorry for yourself and basically start, taking responsibility for what has just happened. Okay, whether it's good or bad, doesn't matter. Okay, you just want to look at yourself deep within and say, okay, what should I do now? How can I solve the problem, right? Instead of coming with a blaming mentality. Okay, so what human beings, right? What us as human beings we fall prey into, right, is we basically don't like to assume responsibility, because the moment we assume responsibility, we are assigning ourselves more headaches. We are assigning ourselves more tasks to do. And we generally want to stay away from that, because the problem is we feel that we are overwhelmed with too many things, and therefore as a result of that, right, we like to point fingers, we like to point at others. So that's definitely not part of the growth mindset. You want to start taking responsibility. Okay, so that wraps up the first one. I think I've been going on for a while now. Okay, the second thing is you want to be humble, and you also want to assume that you are the stupidest person in the room. Okay, and if you feel that you are somehow the smartest person in the room, right, then you're probably in the wrong room, right? You want to be in the room whereby it's filled with a lot of smart people that are probably better than where you want to be, people that probably have higher net worth than you, people that probably have kind of the level that you want to be at, right? Let's say for example, okay, you have let's say a goal, okay, of making 10,000 a month, right? And then your current income could be like 5,000 a month. You want to be in a room filled with like everybody else earning like 3,000 a month, right? You definitely want to be in a room where there's people earning 10,000 a month, people earning 15,000 a month, people making 30,000 a month, people making 50,000 a month, right? Of course, you want to hang out in a room of people whereby it's nearer to where you are, right? Let's say you are at 5k a month, you want to go to 10k a month. Yeah, go hang out in a room full of people with 10k a month instead of somebody that's like at 3 billion a month. You know what I mean? Like the disparity is too huge. Yeah, so when they speak to you, right, they are speaking at a different wavelength and a different frequency, whereby you can't even understand some of the terminologies that they are trying to tell you, and they are speaking very high level strategic stuff, whereby if you're operating at 5k a month, trying to go to 10k a month, the mechanism and the jargon and the languaging that they are using is different, very different. Yeah, and the mechanics of how things works is also very different. So you want to keep yourself in a room full of people that are kind of at a higher level of where you want to be, and as a result of that, you speak to them, okay, and you learn from them, and you incorporate all these learnings into your business, your daily life. Okay, by the way, this doesn't just apply to like entrepreneurs or business owners. This applies to you even if you're a salaried employee, you're working for someone else. You can definitely put yourself in a community full of people that are doing better than you. Okay, there are a lot of communities out there. There are tons of, like, really depends on what industry you're working in, right? You can go to Facebook groups, you can go to forums, you can go to Reddit threads, you can even go to meetups, right? Like you can go to eventbrite.com. There are people that are operating in the same industry as you, whether it's cloud computing, whether it's IT, whether it's programming, whether it's software engineering, whether it's marketing, whether it's HR, whatever, like, all this finance, corporate finance, like there's all these groups out there that's available for you to connect with like-minded individuals, even as salaried employees, and not just business owners, not just entrepreneurs, that can kind of give you the advice. They can kind of tell you how you want to chart your career. They can tell you, okay, what are some of the companies they want to look at? Is it big tech companies? Is it fast-moving consumer good companies? Is it luxury brands? Like, there's all these groups that are available out there. So it's not about the group doesn't exist. It's about whether you're resourceful enough to go and find that group, okay, of like-minded people, like-minded individuals that you kind of want to choose to dedicate your time to. Okay, so I hope that makes sense for basically making sure that you're in the correct room. Okay, and also assuming that humility so that you can be humble, and basically just assume that you're the stupidest person in the room, so that you can absorb as much learning as possible. It's kind of like you're a sponge, right? You're that sponge that you kind of want to absorb as much water, right? To kind of soak in all that goodness that comes from all your peers, right? All the people that you are hanging out with in that room, and that's really how you can develop that growth mindset as well. Okay, so the third thing, right, okay, is questioning multiple layers into the intent of each action that you take. For instance, my mentor, right, okay, my business mentor once gave me an advice, right, that I refused to take for a while. Okay, I refused to basically take it because I was very stubborn. I wanted to build a culture, in at work, right? I wanted to build a business whereby I believe that only helped by a physical office. Okay, because at one point in time, I never wanted to have remote employees. I never wanted to have remote team members. I only wanted to just have people working in my office that is based in Singapore, okay, and have a physical office, and hire Singaporeans and hire, people to kind of report to the office. Okay, and then I basically rejected this whole notion of, okay, I want to hire remote team members. Okay, now why am I telling you this? It's because the whole reason why I rejected it, right, is because I didn't question why did he recommend it to me in the first place. I just took it at face value. I just had this very strong conviction that I didn't want to hire remote team members, because I personally felt that, I want to have that very thriving culture of people that are put together in the physical office and kind of have that collaborative environment. And I totally didn't even go, question into many layers in. But it's not until, right, I sat down one day with myself, okay, and I asked myself, okay, actually, Jim, why don't you want to consider the option of hiring remote? And then I just think to myself, well, the whole reason why I don't want to consider the option of hiring remote is because I was taught, oh my god, the steering wheel just moved. I was told by someone else that having a local team culture is better because they'll be more bonded. Because having a whole bunch of smart people in the same room, would allow for a better work culture. Okay, but then I started to question many more layers in between. Okay, then I just started, okay, why? Why would putting a room, and why would putting a whole bunch of people in the same room work better than if you're doing remotely? Why? And then, it doesn't make sense. Like, can't you also have a good working culture even just by working remotely? And then I asked myself again, okay, why can't you still have a good work culture by having everyone work remotely and still be able to communicate real time and still being able to have meetings and still being able to record all the meetings, that happen virtually as well? Wouldn't that be better? Because when you can virtually record all the meetings, people can start rewatching them, right? People can start learning them from the recorded meetings, and people can start basically being streamlined, okay, into joining all the meetings virtually as well. They don't have to be confined by the physical space. And then I started asking myself, wait, if I'm gonna just hire locally based in Singapore, there's only a population of 5 million people here, right? And we ourselves, we're already short on manpower here, right? And if I only kind of restricted myself to hiring, within the 5 million people population here, it's gonna be a uphill battle, right? To be able to hire, talented people to join the team. So it's not up until I started questioning many more layers in, okay, that I started to grow. I started to buy into the belief that, okay, yes, it's still possible. It's possible to hire remotely. It's possible to scale a team remotely, and that's how you grow. You grow by asking yourself the tough questions. You grow by arriving at the conclusion of why something works or why something doesn't work. Okay, and of course it helps if you have a mentor to guide you through that, right? But if you don't, then you just need to be able to continue asking yourself the right questions and continue peeling through the layers to find out exactly what is the root cause of the problem. Because sometimes just finding out the surface layer of the problem is not enough. Like, you question one layer and then you stop there. Okay, then you should ask one more time, why or why not? And then once you reach the next reason, then ask why or why not again, and why or why not again, and until you reach the end of the line, right? So I think being able to find out what the intent is and being able to solve the root cause of the problem is extremely critical. And it's something that I think a lot of people don't do enough of, right? They kind of just stop at the surface layer. And that's how you grow. You grow by deepening your question, your line of questioning. Okay, you grow by having that ever want to learn and ever want to grow kind of mindset. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. But I know it's something that's very convoluted at the moment. But basically, you just want to keep asking yourself the right questions, okay, in order to have that, to develop that growth mindset, and that helped me a lot. Okay, I just keep questioning my train of thought and keep questioning my line of questioning, and that allowed me to grow. Okay, so I hope this video is useful for you. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you found anything useful. Even if you didn't find it useful, go ahead and dislike, okay, or like, and then go ahead and comment down below what you liked and what you disliked about this video, and also subscribe, okay, to be notified for more videos just like this one. So keep the questions coming. I think this question from Ingcha is very interesting in terms of how to develop a growth mindset. And yeah, you can also go ahead and ask more personalized questions. Like, for instance, you have a very specific scenario, a very specific situation that you think is a very unique scenario, and you want to go ahead and ask that. That will also be something that I'll be interested to answer as well. So yeah, that summarizes today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.